is Boxing Nation. Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So Tim Bradley, he just recently made a video where he comes out and admits that he was wrong. Something that you rarely see, especially black people do, at least when it comes to being wrong about a black American boxer and actually giving that boxer the credit that he deserves. This seldomly happens in the sport of boxing, and I'm going to explain why it seldomly happens in this video. So Tim comes out and he retracts all of the negative things that he has said about Gervonta Tank Davis and his career previously. He said he just woke up one day and realized that he was wrong. He was wrong about what he has been saying about Tank after reevaluating Tank's resume. Now, before we even get into what Tim Bradley said about Gervonta and his career, et cetera, it's really important to say this. Now, I always tell you guys the most dangerous weapon in the world is a microphone and a camera. It can work for you or it can work against you. Tim Bradley, he is a well-known person in the sport of boxing. That means he has influential power, which coincidentally, Tim, he actually called Gervonta Tank Davis a very influential boxer. Once again, we're going to get into that in a minute. But going back to Tim Bradley, because he is a well-known name in the sport of boxing, and he has his own platform. Now, what Tim and a lot of other black people in the sport don't understand, like Shawn Porter, for example, you have the power to really grow your platform by speaking the truth unapologetically, like Tim Bradley just did in this video talking about Tank. Because here's the thing. If you just completely parrot the typical race fan talking points on the internet, you say everything that you see them post, then you don't stand out. You're not teaching anybody anything. You're not making people think like, wow, you know what? That's a great point. I didn't think about that. If you just repeat all the talking points, all the comments that you see on the internet, you're a student. You're not a teacher. You're a follower. You're not a leader. And you also don't have the advantage that those ignorant race fans have on the internet, because the majority of them, they post stupid stuff, but they remain anonymous. Now you mess around and repeat their talking points, but you're on camera, you have an actual name, that's going to make you look even dumber. And you're going to keep contradicting yourself, because the things that those fans say on the internet, it was never really meant to make sense. They can keep contradicting themselves, changing the narrative from day to day, because they have no identity. There is no track record on what they have said before and after for you to compare. So they're never held accountable. But when you have a name, everyone knows who you are. You do have a track record of everything you said, which once again makes the microphone and the camera the most dangerous weapon in the world. So once again, man, my point is that people like Tim Bradley and Shawn Porter, with them having a platform, they've been in the ring before, former champions, if they really knew how to use that microphone, and I'm talking about, once again, spitting the whole truth and not caring about what race fans think or how they feel about it, unapologetically, their channels will grow much faster. Because while race fans just want these black men to trash all the other black boxers, use all of their talking points just to make them feel better emotionally, real boxing fans, they want knowledge. And it takes a person with a lot of courage, a lot of heart to tell it like it is. Call a spade, over and over and over again, consistently, not once every 2 years, but all the time. You call it like it is, like I've been doing on this channel for over 10 years. You know, after Tim Bradley said everything that he said about Gervonta in this video that he just recently did, he said, look, man, I know they're going to come after me for me saying this, but I'm ready. Now, what you have to understand is when Tim says this, he's really talking about the race fans. I know some people are going to say, oh, well, you got the Tank fans, you got the Haney fans, you got the Shakur fans. That's BS. At the end of the day, the majority of these fans that completely trash Gervonta Tank Davis, they say the same thing about any black fighter that they consider a threat. For example, if you pay close attention, I'm talking about real close attention, what you will notice is all of those non-black fans that claim that they hated Devin Haney, but they would try to justify it by saying that they were a Tank fan. You notice once everyone start trashing Gervonta Tank Davis, none of those non-black fans came out defending Tank from all the hate he was receiving. Same thing with Shakur Stevenson, right? If they said they hated Haney, but they were a Shakur fan, or vice versa, it doesn't matter. Whenever one of those black fighters was under serious fire, none of these non-black fans came out and defended them. Said, hey man, y'all calling Shakur a runner. This is BS. He ain't no runner. He stands right in front of you. In his last 2 fights, he was the aggressor, etc., 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 right? When they start dissing Gervonta, saying, oh man, he's overrated, he ain't fought nobody. You never see these race fans come out and defend Gervonta Tank Davis with receipts like Tim Bradley just did in this video. Now, don't get me wrong. Of course, you have some real diehard Tank fans from Baltimore, from that area, that are going to defend Gervonta Tank Davis, but they're the minority. I'm talking about the majority of fans that are on the internet. With that being said, let's get into exactly what Tim Bradley said about Gervonta Tank Davis on Tim Bradley's channel.
Back with some more Car Chronicles. Look, man, I don't know what the hell got into me. Man, I woke up this morning tripping, man. Tripping. I don't know, man. Tank was on my mind, man. Ain't that something? Of all people, Tank was on my mind. So I just sit back and I've looked at his resume, man. And I got some interesting facts for y'all, man. If you look at his resume, this man didn't beat 8 undefeated fighters. 8 undefeated fighters, man. Okay?
Okay, now Tim Bradley, he's going to elaborate and explain, but I just wanted to add, not only were these fighters undefeated, but before a lot of them even became champions, they were top prospects. A lot of them, from Ryan Garcia to Frank Martin, Hector Garcia. And not only was Hector Garcia a champion, but he was the first person to beat Lil B-Hop. And we all know Lil B-Hop, Chris Colbert, he was expected to do big things. And then speaking of fighting undefeated fighters, Frank Martin fought a whole bunch of undefeated fighters and beat a lot of undefeated fighters. Michelle Rivera, the Ali lookalike, Artem Harutian, Jackson Martinez, who wasn't undefeated, but he was a top contender. And even though Rolly Romero and Mario Barrios are now champions after they lost to Gervonta Tank Davis, Rolly Romero in particular, he was a big prospect before he fought against Gervonta Tank Davis. Of course, he made his name by actually beating up Ryan Garcia in sparring. How ironic is that later on he actually beats him in a pro fight. But Rolly Romero, he was a prospect before he fought against Gervonta Tank Davis. It wasn't until it was announced that he was fighting against Tank Davis, since race fans knew that Davis was going to win the fight because he was just better, they automatically started to throw Rolly Romero's name under the bus like they do with all non-black fighters when they feel that fighter is going to lose to a black fighter. They did this to all of Floyd Mayweather's opponents, and they did it with all of Gervonta's. We know that if it was Ryan Garcia that beat an undefeated Rolly Romero, he beat an undefeated Hector Garcia, he beat an undefeated Frank Martin, and I don't even have to mention everybody else. We know that if Ryan Garcia would have beat all of those guys and knocked them out like Tank did, old media would have him on a pound-for-pound list, somewhere at the top, especially if he would have knocked out Frank Martin because of his complexion. Shit, he wouldn't even have to knock out all the other undefeated fighters that I was telling you guys about. Just let him knock out an undefeated Frank Martin. Once again, we see they're still giving Ryan Garcia credit for cheating against Devin Haney. So you can imagine the type of credit they would have gave him if he would have knocked out Frank Martin on an even playing field. Once again, I'm talking about the undefeated Frank Martin, the same Frank Martin that Gervonta knocked out without PEDs. Matter of fact, let's take it a step further. What would the boxing world have said if the roles were reversed? Instead of Gervonta knocking out Ryan Garcia, he knocked out Gervonta Tank Davis. And then let's also throw in Frank Martin. So let's just say those are the two big names that Ryan Garcia beat. He knocked out Gervonta Tank Davis, and then he knocked out the undefeated Frank Martin. We know what old media and the rest of the world, the rest of the race fans, would be saying about Ryan Garcia, right? They would probably have him pound for pound number one, the best fighter in the world. Because the only time old media truly wants to give a black fighter credit is if that black fighter is losing to a non-black fighter, like when Deontay Wilder lost to Tyson Fury. Before Wilder lost to Fury, they was calling him the worst heavyweight champion of all time. They was constantly trashing him. But once Tyson Fury beat him, now Tyson Fury is the greatest fighter of all time. Now all of a sudden Deontay Wilder looks much better because he's on Tyson Fury's resume. But when Gervonta knocks out an undefeated Ryan Garcia, Frank Martin, and everybody else, oh, well, that was expected because you're black. You guys have natural talent. You're supposed to do that. If you want to impress me, do it with one hand tied behind your back. Do it with one eye closed. We know what time it is.
This man didn't beat 8 undefeated fighters. 8 undefeated fighters, man. Okay? Oh, Tim, I already know what y'all gonna say. Tim, you know, those fighters aren't nothing. Those fighters, oh really? Those fighters are nothing? Pedraza, 3-division world champion. That dude ain't nothing? 3-division world champion. Undefeated. Tank beat him. Knocked him out. But Lomachenko get credit when he fight him. But Tank don't get credit for that? Alright, okay. Some of y'all gonna say, okay, yeah, Tim, we give him credit for that, but that's the only world championship that he has. Okay. Alright. Is belts all that matters? Because if belts is all that matters, then y'all wouldn't be saying what y'all be saying about Terrence Crawford. Right? Because he got all the belts. However, Tank don't have many belts, but when you look at the opposition that he faced, and when he faced these guys, think about that. Where's Rolly Romero right now? Oh, I believe he's a world champion. Who beat him? Oh, his name is Tank Davis. So, I think we should give credit for guys that fighters have beat, right? That have beaten and has done something in the sport. What does that mean? That they're quality, right? Hello. It makes sense to me, right? I beat a guy named Miguel Vasquez, right? One of my toughest matches in my career. He went and won a strap at 135 and held that thing down for years. Yeah, he became something in the sport. Who else? Man. Oh, his name is Mario Barrios. Yeah. Forget the belts from now. Forget that. Barrios right now is a legitimate 147-pounder. Just fought Manny Pacquiao, got a draw with Manny Pacquiao. Who beat him? Oh, let me guess. I think his name is Tank Damn Davis. My gosh. Who did Tank just fight just recently? Who is a world champion at 130 pounds? The man said the Tank power ain't what everybody think it is. The man said the Tank is small. His name is Roach, right? Yeah. He's a champion at 130. Now, I understand the circumstances. It's a draw. But I'm just saying. He got in the ring with that man. Right? Yeah. Who else? Ryan Garcia. Now, we want to give Ryan Garcia credit, right? For beating Haney, right? A lot of y'all want to give him credit for that, even though he was on the, the Osterrain, and, Haney had to avoid the left hook. Styles make fights. so on and so forth. I told y'all about the weight class. You know, he had the weight, the 3 pounds. He had the advantage going in. But we don't want to give credit to Tank for making Ryan Garcia come down in weight. Tank is 5'4.5", is 5'4" some change. Ryan Garcia damn near 6 foot. Big guy. But we don't want to give him credit for that. And who just beat him? A guy that Tank smashed. Rolly Romero. Damn, this is interesting. Right now, 3 fighters on Tank's resume are world champions. Are world champions. Who beat him? Tank. Ain't that something? 6 of them right now are still rated top 10 in their weight class. Some even number 1 right now in their weight class. Hey, when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I was wrong. I was wrong, Tank. I was wrong, Tank fans. This man is a Hall of Famer. And when Tank beat him, they were quality. Yes. Anyways, man. Hey, I already know y'all about to come after your boy. Hey, but you know I can take it. Car Chronicles off the hinges. I love Car Chronicles. I hope y'all love it too. But damn it, Tank is a damn Hall of Famer.
Okay, so you guys heard Tim Bradley at the end. He says, I know y'all gonna come after your boy. Once again, I didn't finish my point when I brought this up earlier in the video. He's saying this, he's talking about the race fans, and I've already explained that. But what I didn't say is Tim Bradley, if you notice, if Tim Bradley disses a black boxer, he's not going to say, I know y'all going to come after me. If he praises a non-black boxer, like he just praised Gervonta, you're never going to hear Tim Bradley say in a video, I know y'all going to come after me. Because Tim Bradley, he knows the only time they are going to come after him is if he is praising a black American boxer or he is discrediting a non-black boxer. And this is what I mean when I say you can't be worried about what these race fans are going to say. You can't allow that to deter you speaking the truth. If what you're saying is the truth, it's the truth, no matter how they feel about it. Because once again, that's what real boxing fans want to hear. They want to hear the truth. With that being said, I'm going to wrap this video up. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Let me tell you guys about Issa Israel Law Firm. It is a full-service legal practice based in Denver, Colorado, an emerging hub for combat sports and high-altitude training. If you're a fighter inside or outside of the ring and you need a law firm you can trust to fight for you, visit thefighterfirm.com or email help@iilawfirm.com. Legal representation is usually limited to plaintiffs or defendants in Colorado, but iFirm can help anyone in the world with trademarking their business name, logos, and U.S. immigration issues. This brother has been my attorney for a while and helped guide me through all kinds of business and civil issues, so make sure you guys go to thefighterfirm.com. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, fever blisters, diabetic ulcers, this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called LO Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to LODeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.